You probably noticed on the outside of the diagram are two questions. How do I know what I know? And how can I apply my knowledge? So these are here because in every single aspect of the curriculum, in all the material that students will be presented with, students will constantly be asked to apply their knowledge to these questions. So I'm going to give a few examples of how this comes out in the curriculum. For example, in math, students won't be just asked to accept a certain law in mathematics, like Pythagorean theorem or something, or all different laws of mathematics. They will be asked to, they will be asked the question, how do you know that that's true? Because one of the problems in education in Africa and in other places of the world too is that their brains are programmed to just accept what is told, and what happens is that we don't have as many of the Einsteins and the Newtons and the Galileos that we could have, because education is causing this memorization, regurgitate sort of approach to learning. So in every single law of mathematics presented, students would have to discover it themselves through the guidance of the teacher. And how can I apply my knowledge? How can I apply mathematical knowledge? And this is, really direct applications. Like, how can I use what I know about volume and mass to create a better water system or a better water well in my community? And students would be asked to reflect on these sort of things. And I just want to point out, with these questions, teachers aren't going to be, telling students, this is how what you're learning right now in mathematics connects to the second question. No, students will always be asked to give their own ideas, and there's no wrong answer. This is room for students to be independent and think for themselves. That's the whole point of the exercise, is to get students to become more innovative and think for themselves, think outside the box, not just being asking for confirmation from the teacher. And of course, the value is that students will learn how to take what they learn in school and actually use it to do what they want to do, which is they see abject poverty around them every day, and they just want to make a change in their community and their nation. For example, in social studies, how do I know what I know? Students will always be questioning what's the other side of the story, and they'll be taught to look at multiple perspectives before they are allowed to gain a piece of knowledge, or to accept something as true. How can I apply my knowledge? Students will actually have assignments where in social studies they have to take what they learned about, doing surveys in the community, or evaluating the needs of a community, or evaluating the human rights issues in an area. Students will have to go out. Students will constantly be out, making a difference in their communities. And not only will that help the whole area where they live, not only the students, but also once students leave school, they'll have all these skills. They've already done all these leadership sorts of things that, in the West, we see that as extracurricular activities or extra bonus points that help your resume or something. But students will actually have all this background. Is that one of the major flaws in education around the world today is that any kind of measurement of what somebody does, of what a student does, comes out in a grade, a good or bad grade. And if the student didn't get it right the first time, it's a punishment, it's a bad grade. But at Pangea schools, it would be more about evaluating what somebody does, literally does, not just what they write on a test. Not everybody's a test taker, and something has to change in the way that students are being, tested for their knowledge. Knowledge to be tested as to how we apply it, not just how we write it down or how well we